Welcome, everyone. It's the Tuesday edition of Talkback, and we welcome some new sponsors. First of all, brought to you by Bitterroot Motors, doing it right for more than 42 years. Office solutions and services, locally owned solutions for every office. The Mustard Seed Restaurant, Automotive Cutting Edge, where they specialize in repairs for all makes and models at 542-2218. Transport Equipment, located just south of the Y. They're the headquarters for RV service and maintenance. Also, our new sponsor is starting today, Rogers & Company Fine Jewelry, offering beautiful, unique fine jewelry at competitive prices in Missoula at 3550 Mullen Road across from the Super Walmart. And Deep Roots Medicinals. They offer alternative and natural medicines to treat a wide variety of conditions. Veteran-owned and operated. Contact Brian, a physiologist of Deep Roots Medicinals, at 531-7461. Oh, I think that's it.
And we love it when we get new sponsors, trust me.
Good morning, John King. How are you?
Good morning. I'm going deaf because my headphones are jacked up to 11. But other than that, I'm doing great. Had a good Memorial Day weekend with family, even though my wife got a little under the weather. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay.
All right. What the kids, do they go fishing or anything?
Actually, my son, Isaiah Cortez King, decided to go on an expedition. Some neighbor kids came over to visit. We have a baby gate. You know, right. It's like reinforced steel and concrete, and someone left it open.
Ooh.
And so baby, 2-year-old kid, leaves my house, travels down the hill, and, you know, within 4 minutes, I knew he was gone because there was silence. And I look around, and I don't see him in the house, so I run outside, and I see the baby gates open, so I run outside, and I talk to the neighbor up the street from me. Hey, have you seen a 2-year-old walking down the street? No. Neighbor south of me, have you seen a 2-year-old? No. So I figure he must be hiding and being quiet for some suspicious reason. Not the case. The kid had made it down the street, and the people just didn't notice him. He made it all the way down our street and around the corner. I mean, more than a quarter mile.
Wow.
And, we were freaking out for like a long time. And then some lady comes up and... Yeah,
he was just him the wanderer.
He was just walking down the street, pointing out all the different basketball hoops, and he just kept going because everybody had one. So that was my thrill of the weekend.
Okay,
and it's over.
So that's the extra gray hair right there.
Yeah, they got an extra one. Thanks, Isaiah, for coming back.
Super
home.
All right. Well, we have guests in the studio that didn't have anywhere near as harrowing a weekend as you did. Suzanne Phillips, Kevin had both joining us this morning. Now, Suzanne, you're with the Culinary Arts Program, is that right?
I am. I'm a chef instructor with Missoula College Culinary Arts Program.
And Kevin, of course, you are a local tavern owner, one of the most popular people in Missoula, right?
I am. I own the Rhino downtown.
Ah, well, you're deeply popular at that. Everybody loves you guys. Yeah. All right, so tell us what's coming up this weekend.
Well, we have our Carnivores Classic, which is a benefit for Missoula College Culinary Arts Program, going on Friday night and all day Saturday. So we're hoping that people will come down and join us for all of our wonderful events. So
this is let me see if I can get this right. This is a barbecue and competition.
Well, we have a variety of events, but one is a barbecue, Kansas City Barbecue Society sanctioned barbecue contest that'll be going on all night, Friday night. They'll start cooking, and we'll wind up with our judging Saturday afternoon. So it's a really cool event.
You will have armed guards to protect the food, right?
We will, and we're still looking for competitors for that event. We're offering a barbecue class by a nationally known barbecue champion. He's Chef Tony Belay of Lone Star Smoke Ranger Barbecue in Texas, and he's competed nationally and internationally with barbecue, and he actually puts on a barbecue competitor class, if you will, and it's usually $500 a person. We're offering it as a freebie if you sign up to be a competitor. And we've discounted our competitor rate from $200 to $175, and you'll get that $500 class free.
Okay, so for those of us like myself that are considering paying for someone else to take this class, what sort of things are required of the competitor?
Well, they need to have a sense of old style barbecue, smoking and low and slow cooking. They'll be receiving they'll have to have 4 different meats. One is brisket, one is pork butt, one is ribs, and one is chicken. And they'll be preparing them. Like I said, they'll be cooking all night Friday night and then presenting the judges, who are all from Kansas City Barbecue Society. They'll be coming to judge.
So they'll be mixing their own sausage and spreads and stuff like that?
They have a little bit of leeway as far as how they prepare it and how they present it. Okay. And then the judges get to taste it, and we our champion. What do you want to call it, Kevin?
The cleaver.
The cleaver is the grand champion prize. It is. You tell them what it's like, Kevin.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
amazing.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of Zombie Tools here in town.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, the guy who did the designs for all the swords, he has started his own business called Astro Loki Labs, and he designed this specific cleaver just for this event as a grand champion prize. It is super cool. Carbonized steel, has a hell of an edge on it. It is heavy, and it's a wonderful, cool, unique looking thing.
Do you have a photo you can share of that?
Oh boy, I don't have
or is
one.
that like a deep, dark secret?
No, it isn't. But people will be able to see it when they come on Saturday. They'll be able to see what this thing. It's wild. It's cool.
So obviously, we've talked a lot about the $175 entrance fee and the people that want to compete. Well, what if you just want to show up and eat meat?
Well, we have a couple of things for you in that category as well. The actual asado barbecue is going on from 11 to 3 on Saturday. The price for that is $25 a person, and that includes all of the meats that we, the Missoula College Culinary Arts Program, are preparing. So your steer, your lamb, your salmon, your chicken. Am I forgetting something? Your pork.
Oh yeah, there's pork, there's lamb, there is bison sausage. I mean, we're butterflying an entire steer, 3 whole hogs, 6 whole lambs, 150 pounds of salmon, 200 chickens,
and all the accompaniments with it.
I need to know. Are you guys? Now, I'm speaking a little bit facetiously, but this could be a little bit serious. Are you prepared for any like protesters or saying don't eat the pork?
No, we didn't. We did not have that last year. So I think there's enough meat lovers in Missoula that we're pretty
If it's
safe.
called the Omnivore Classic next year, I will know that you backed out
Exactly.
and that your spine is not strong enough.
I think we're going to stick with Carnivore's Classic.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So when it comes to all this other stuff, so it's $25 a plate, and you could just scoop up whatever you want?
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing spread. An asado is a South American style barbecue, and you won't be disappointed.
What's involved? I mean,
Well, lots of side dishes that are and salsas and sauces that are authentic to South America to accompany all those wonderful barbecued meats and salmon.
Also, Friday night we have a huge VIP 5-course French-style meal that's being done with a different wine with each course.
Wow.
Then there's also the Axeman has come on board this year. It's basically their event. We're doing they're calling it the Drive-In Grill Out. People will show up with their own grills, do a tailgate type of thing there for their family. They can cook there, and as soon as the sun goes down, they'll be able to watch and enjoy a drive-in movie, and we're showing Ghostbusters this year. And also on Saturday, there's one more event happening, and it's a special thing called the Grizz Bobcat Iron Chef Throwdown.
I have heard about that.
And it's a 5-course meal. There's 3 chefs from Bozeman, 3 chefs from Missoula that are getting together, and they have to prepare 5 courses. And I believe that one of the gentlemen from the Blaze is going to be helping us with that. So this
that
is
would have
going
to be KC, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
do not let that guy get in an eating competition.
No.
I recently competed against this guy in a taco eating contest. It was horrible. I ate the least, and I feel like the winner. But yeah, he will scarf down more food in 5 minutes than you will believe.
We'll have to watch. Well, we
Don't let him near the meat unattended.
We have a judge from Missoula. We have a judge from Bozeman and an independent.
Yeah.
So we've got that part of it taken care of.
Now, where does this all take place? The movie theater and the...
It's all at the fairgrounds. So
wow.
we're at Missoula County Fairgrounds. The actual drive-in is going to be in that big open grassy field where the carnival usually is.
Right.
And then our VIP event is taking place in the commercial building. Our asado buffet will be in the 4-H pavilion on Saturday. So we're going to be all spread out. There'll be lots to look at, lots to watch, especially the competitors, the barbecue contest. It's fun to walk walk around and see what they're doing, and it's just going to smell amazing.
So in this competition, you're not looking for the backyard dad with the, kiss the cook apron and the guy who doesn't know when to flip the burgers. We're not looking for that, right?
We're looking for anybody who thinks that they're the best.
Okay. All right.
So it could be anybody.
Okay.
The best cooks usually are backyard moms and dads, from my personal experience.
But down the road, we are thinking about doing an amateur backyard barbecue competition also. And also to let you know, we're having the VIP, as Suzanne said, in the commercial building. It turns 100 years old this year.
Wow.
And
it's in conjunction with our stuff.
Yeah.
Well, tell you what. So we're going to continue here in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break because there's more I want to ask you about. Because I am perhaps the world's worst grill master. Okay, so we're going to come. I'm going to quiz you here. We'll be right back.
Oh God.
We're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. 1-800-568-5309. You guys didn't bring napkins. Our mouths are watering. It's a mess in here. John King, I'm Peter Christian. Joining us here in the studio, Kevin Head from the Rhino, Suzanne Phillips from the Culinary Arts Program at Missoula College. Now, we're talking about the Carnivore Classic coming up this weekend. Now, my question to you, and I'm speaking completely selfishly here, okay? I am the worst barbecue person in the world. My wife won't even let me touch the barbecue grill anymore because I just ruin everything I touch. So is there a way for, rank, and I mean rank amateurs like me, to learn anything from this competition?
Well, if you want to enter the competition and come get that free $500 class, that would be great. So, it's a $175 entry fee for the contest. Come take the class, and then we'll see how you do.
Okay.
But it's all about the smoker, and it's all about cooking the meat low and slow.
Okay. All right.
Low and slow.
I believe there are going to be some little seminars out there and demonstrations that are going on throughout the day on Saturday.
That's good. Like how to keep the stupid grill lit.
Or how to make the perfect sauce, or barbecue sauce. So
That works. Now you're looking for volunteers.
We are. We have a lot of opportunities for volunteers for the event. Friday night during the drive-in theater, as well as Saturday during the actual barbecue. We need help with people helping us coordinate parking and those kinds of things, and just in general walking around and helping with the event. So that would be a great way to come and see what's going on. So if you would like to volunteer, you can contact us at 243-7815 or 303-1257.
Very cool. No, I got to ask, since you teach students here at the university how to cook, basically, right?
Right.
All right. Do they specialize in anything in Montana? Is it starting to have like a culinary scene with certain themes that, because for a long time we always kind of felt like an import state. People come from Texas, people come from South Carolina, people come from California, and they bring whatever it is they like to Montana. But are we starting to develop something native here?
I would say that we do tend to be very meat heavy in this state, but we also, Missoula especially, is all about local sustainable, and we find that our students are that way as well. So fresh produce and working with local farmers and ranchers, which is what we try to do with our event, Carnivores Classic, which I need to add is a benefit for Missoula College Culinary Arts Program. We're moving in 2 years to our new campus on East Broadway.
That's going to be
and we
so
want to make
cool.
sure that we have the best equipment for our students and the best program anywhere in the Northwest. So
absolutely. Now I have noticed, I don't know if you know anything about this, but the price of beef has just gone sky high in the last last couple of months. Can you explain that? What's going on there?
It's all about supply and demand.
Is it?
So
Okay.
you'll see prices fluctuate in all different areas, whether it's produce or meat.
We had a king get together and drove the price of meat way high. Just happens, we get hungry.
Do we have a set of headphones?
Yeah, we do.
for these
If you could strap those headphones on, we got a caller calling in.
okay, let's get the.
And you might only get it to reach one ear there, sir.
All right.
But that's all right.
Sue, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? What's going on,
I'm good.
kid?
Well, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the culinary school, and they're the best kept secret in town as far as a good, delicious lunch at the culinary school. And we went to the Carnivore Classic last year, and we're going again this year, and we're bringing more people with us. So I just wanted to let Suzanne know that she's got a great program, and it's a great cause, and Kevin has done so many good things to promote the culinary school. And I just wanted to give a shout out, because if you ever want to go and have a fabulous lunch, it's over at the culinary school, and it's totally worth it.
Well,
Thank
where
you.
is the culinary school for those that don't?
We're located at 909 South Avenue West. We're between the fairgrounds and Sentinel High School. And we actually operate a dining room, a restaurant, Monday through Friday. We're open for breakfast and lunch.
Really?
And we are the best kept secret.
How much is it for lunch?
Our highest entree at this point is like $10.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, really reasonable. And
Do we
our
have to
students
make
are doing all the
reserva-
cooking.
Do we have to make a reservation?
If you have a large group coming, I would encourage reservations.
I would be happy to be your maitre d'.
That would be great. Yeah. No, we have daily, weekly specials, and we also operate a grill, so burgers and salads and that kind of thing. But yeah,
And they
thank you,
cater
Sue.
too. They
We
catered
do.
our Christmas party last
Oh,
year, and it was
wow.
absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. We do. I'm the catering instructor at Missoula College, and we are very fortunate to have a lot of catering opportunities on and off campus, and those catered events serve as fundraisers as well for our program.
So, Sue, since you've already had a chance to taste, what should we go for first? What's going to run out fastest?
All the time. That's what's so great about it. But I mean, you can have the fanciest thing on the menu is like Suzanne said, like $8 to $10, and it's just like to die for. It really is. It's like a fancy restaurant anywhere in Missoula, but better.
So we just go up to the Missoula College and say, hey,
Yes,
where's
our
lunch?
restaurant is in the administrative building
Okay.
right at the Missoula
Just
College campus.
Basically, follow your nose.
Follow
right?
your nose. And Sue's right. We teach our students classic cooking techniques, so you'll find that a lot of our fare is classic French cuisine.
Wow.
So, but we play around with different countries' cuisine as well. So you may get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's all very good.
Ooh la la.
And I will say that when that new building goes up and their restaurant is on the river, they're going to give some of the best brunch places in town a run for their money.
Are you going to keep the secret location on South?
No, we are more than happy to share where we are with the public, especially when we get in that new facility with Riverside Cafe Dining. So
I'm thinking it's about time to bring a wrecker into that place because it is so. I mean, you've got buildings stacked on the buildings and mobile homes and
yeah,
you
my office is in a trailer, so yeah.
Well, it's
Classy.
It's about time you guys got some better digs.
Thanks.
And the best barbecues made outside of trailers, I'm sure.
Sue, thank you so much for that shout out. It really
you
helped out
bet.
a lot.
All right, Sue. Thanks, kiddo. Hey, we're up against a break, and we need to give some of these.
You know what? I think I feel wrong. They brought themselves and no food here, and I'm sure you feel horribly guilty about that. But I am not going to let this injustice stand for my listeners, and I have 2 tickets to the Carnivore Classic to give away today.
Awesome.
Very
All
cool.
you have to do is call 721-1290 to win the tickets. 721-1290.
I've got a winner right here. His name is Peter Christian.
Oh, good job,
No,
Peter.
no.
Way to hit that dial.
No, really. First caller right now at 721-1290 wins the tickets. So give us a call. There it goes. All right. We're going to let you guys go. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming by.
We appreciate it.
And next
we'll
time-
see you all out at the Carnivores Classic this weekend.
Next time, bring food. That's the rule. Okay, we're going to come right back. Stay with us. Hey, we're back on Talkback. Very short segment here. We kind of went a little bit long with our guests, but you did an incredible news story that we just played this morning about statistics for sexual assaults and rapes in Missoula County, because that's been the big news for the last year or so, really.
Yeah, it has been one of the interesting topics of discussion over the past year, and even more than a year. And one of the things that we used to do is we used to get an update from the Board of Crime Control every year, but I wasn't able to get my update this year, and I called the Board of Crime Control, and apparently the gentleman that used to give me the stats had left. So I had to arrange a meeting with the administration, which took a 5 or 6 day waiting period.
Right,
and then
right.
What kind of questions are you going to ask? And
They need to trust you, right?
Anyway, so finally, after doing that, waiting about 2 weeks, I ended up getting an interview with the Board of Crime Control about rape statistics, not just in Missoula, but for a lot of the state. And I thought one of the big surprises from that finding was the decline in the number of reported rapes in Missoula over the past 10 years. Actually, the numbers are from 2003 to 2013. 2014 numbers are not fully vetted yet. And, of course, 2015 numbers aren't going to be complete. But there's been a decline. And one of the other things I thought was really interesting is we got a peek at what the numbers look like for a bunch of different counties per capita in the state of Montana. And many counties, at least as of 2013, had higher, and in some cases much higher, rape per capita percentages than Missoula. So that would include counties like Yellowstone County, Gallatin County, Lewis and Clark County.
Now, hold on a second. Yellowstone County, that's Billings.
Right.
That's getting over toward the eastern part of the state.
And remember, it's per capita. Just because there's more people doesn't mean...
Right. But it's also closer to the Bakken.
Fair enough.
Where there's a lot more people, a lot more crime in that area. So,
well, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
But I mean, let's see here. I mean, Gallatin County, Lewis and Clark County. I mean, technically, everyone's closer to the Bakken than Missoula. I don't know how much of an excuse that is true. Yeah. Right?
Well, we're almost up against our final break here, but we might want to pursue this into the next hour because there's been such an uproar about how bad supposedly Missoula is when it comes to that particular crime, and it seems like we're not at the top in Montana. Well, we'll be right. We'll talk about it next hour. Welcome back to Talkback, the Tuesday edition, brought to you by our brand new sponsors, Rogers & Company Fine Jewelry, Deep Roots Medicinals, also Bitterroot Motors, Office Solutions and Services, the Mustard Seed Restaurant, Automotive Cutting Edge, and by Transport Equipment. All right, we're back, and we just kind of dipped our toe in the water of a very interesting story that John's been actually you've been working on this for quite a while.
It's been about 2 weeks trying to get the information out of state. It's harder to get crime statistics than you'd hope.
Yeah,
I mean, I really hope in the future we'll be able to pull up like a Google Maps of Missoula and find out where incidents and what kind of incidents happen. But I understand there's also a lot of security, especially with the issue of rape. Like, you don't want victims traumatized by showing location or. So they have to parse the data in certain ways that make it a little bit more lengthy and time-consuming to get.
Victim-friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But one of the things I thought was really fascinating in the trends was the decline in rape in Missoula County. I mean, we went for so these are all these numbers are per 1,000 individuals. So for every 1,000 individuals that live in Missoula County, in 2005, 0.61, or a little more than 1%. Or half of 1%, had a claim of rape or a reported rape. Now, it's important to remember that it's reported because rape is notorious for being underreported, a crime that some people don't want to come out about, even the victims. Right.
One of the things, if you've been paying attention at all to the investigations that have gone on about the Department of Justice, the whole idea is to make an avenue where reporting sexual assaults and rapes is, I don't want to say easier. It's never easy. It's more accessible. It is more victim-friendly. It is less threatening for a victim to come forward. And so the whole idea with all the training and all the seminars and all the added people and the various things that have been done in the law enforcement agencies in Missoula is to make it easier for someone who has been a victim to come forward. So with that in mind, hopefully we'll be able to see more perpetrators come to justice. So anyway, go ahead.
I thought one of the really interesting stories in the data, by the way, I just got this information this morning.
Right.
So like less than an hour ago. And I've added it to my story about crime statistics, which you can go on our website and just type in crime in the search bar. I published it like Friday, but we write so many stories it gets pushed out fairly fast. Yeah. Anyway, the data was really interesting when it came to Lewis and Clark County. Now, Lewis and Clark County regularly had a higher incident of...
May I say, first of all, I hate to be everyman here, but for those who don't know, if you've just moved to Montana, there are 56 counties in Montana. It's
a lot of counties.
Big state, okay? Lewis and Clark County is the home of Helena, which is the state capital.
Right.
So just so you know, we're talking about the county which contains Helena, the state capital. Go ahead.
It's one of the major metropolises in Montana.
Metropoli.
If we have any of them. We have 7 major cities, really.
Right, yeah.
And Helena and Missoula are both in that game. But Lewis and Clark County has a bad trend, opposite of Missoula's trend. Whereas we had our peak of 0.61 per 1,000 reporting in 2005, Lewis and Clark, since 2010, so in 2010, 0.67.
Wow.
Then it's 0.69 in 2011, and 0.69 again in 2012. And then they took a little bit of a dip in 2013, which is the last year, down to 0.56. way worse than Missoula has been for the last, actually, since 2006. In 2006, we started taking a dip, and we've been, we're now at 0.41, which is quite a bit of a dive from 0.6.
Okay, all right. Now, all that being said, there are at least, from what I remember you saying last hour, there are at least 5 counties, major metropolitan centers in Montana, that have higher statistics for rapes and sexual assaults than Missoula. And if that is true, and according to the crime control people there, I wonder why Missoula was favored by someone like John Krakauer to come here and say Missoula, rape, and the justice system in a college town, when our statistics were actually lower over a decade period than the capital city of Montana. And so which city in Montana gets the brunt of the negative publicity, whether it's through, John Krakauer, whether it's through the Department of Justice? Why isn't the Department of Justice investigating Carroll College, or the city of Helena, or the city of Bozeman, or the city of Billings, all who have higher statistics than the city of Missoula? That's my question.
It's
anyone?
A good question.
Anyone?
No, it's also important.
Bueller? Anyone? 721-1290. I'm just curious. I would love to know.
Real quick, it's also important for you to understand too.
Right.
Every year you're going to have anomalies.
Sure.
For example, you're going to have a spike in the statistics one year, maybe a decline another year.
Right.
So in aggregate, when you look at all the years, and one of the things I find really confusing about Montana crime data, like for example, when you're talking about rape,
sure,
the definition of rape has changed.
Right.
So what they would categorize for rape in the 60s, different things would now fall into that category. So it's really hard to go back in time and get a picture of a total violent crime in the state of Montana.
Right.
So this is a category they call forcible rape, and some counties on the list don't even have complete data going back to 2005. So for example, Cascade County, I don't have any data from them until 2011. And they say that I don't have the data because possibly because they have caveats here. Possibly because there wasn't full reporting from the different bureaus. Like every town has, the highway patrol, your county deputies, your police office, maybe you have a campus police system, and if there isn't full reporting, you don't have an accurate number, you don't know exactly what happened on the ground. That's why I don't know what the numbers are for 2014 are yet, because not everybody has fully reported. But Cascade County wasn't the only one that didn't have full reporting. Also, a lack of full reporting out of Flathead County. So I can't tell you there. But I do have one big winner in the state of Montana, and that is Ravalli County, where rape is very rare. Only 0.15 out of 1,000 reported incidents of rape in Ravalli County.
So Ravalli County, very, very safe.
And because it's per capita, I mean, that adjusts for the number of people there.
Right.
So,
we're up against a break.
Good job, Ravalli.
I would love to know what you folks think about all this. In other words, does this make a difference to you at all? Or does this anger you like it seems to anger me, your friendly host here? 721-1290, 1-800-568-5309, or you can make your comments on our Facebook page. Yes, any sexual assault, even just one, is too many for any community. But I'm just looking at the aggregate numbers here. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back on Talkback. It is Tuesday. We had the day off yesterday. We're all relaxed and feeling good and looking for your calls at 721-1290, 1-800-568-5309. Some very, very interesting statistics that John has very diligently been pursuing for the last several weeks. And I got to tell you, it is eye-opening. And I would love to know what you think about it. 721-1290, go ahead.
I wanted to field another question.
Okay.
I also want to know, why do you think Ravalli has such, that's close to home.
Sure.
It's just, a quick trot down the Bitterroot to get to Ravalli County.
Yeah.
Why are their rape statistics so much lower? I have my own theories, but I want to hear what the public thinks. Than Missoula counties, for example, just a little bit north. And remember, it's all per capita.
We had a call just a moment ago from a gentleman who said he was late for an appointment and said, and this is a quote, "It's because we're all Republicans down here," end quote. And I'm going, okay. Well, whatever. All right. Let's get Mark on the line. Mark, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi, I'd like to answer your question, Peter, and John, I'll take yours on too.
Ooh, good.
One of the reasons you're going to have more sexual assaults reported in the Missoula area is definitely because of the campus. We just have younger people here, and Ravalli County doesn't have that. Now, that's not to say that there's a draw, just because of that, but that's what's happening. And, John, you talked about it earlier, that these are reported statistics. And one of the big things you have to understand is 2013, 2014, the Missoula Police Department and the Missoula County Attorney's Office didn't have a real good reputation, and I don't think they had the trust. And if victims do not trust the local law enforcement or the prosecutors, they are less inclined to report sexual assaults or rapes. And I think that's one of the reasons why you might see other areas having more reports, but it doesn't mean Missoula's not having those rapes. They may not be trusting the law enforcement or the county attorney's office at that time.
That's a very good point.
So you think that the onset of concern over the justice system in Missoula started in 2013, right?
Well, that's when a lot of the media was coming out. And
I agree with you. I think, though, that if you look at the data, it kind of contradicts that idea, but by a small percentage, because from 2010 through 2012, all those years were a little bit lower in reported rapes than 2013. Mm-hmm. So in a year where we're thinking rape is going to be, and you're assuming, I think, and maybe you're just guessing, or you're postulating that it's possible we had more rapes in Missoula that they went unreported because people were afraid to come out to a justice system that they saw adversarial or dangerous for the victim, right?
Yep.
But we had in that year, in 2013, more people report than the year before or the year before and the year before without the media hubbub.
But it was still lower than other areas. And I do believe that that's one of the main reasons.
Okay. So do you believe now that with these agreements in place and with the improvements in the systems, both in the campus and in the community, that the reported rapes in Missoula per capita will rise? Do you believe that's going to happen?
I don't want them to rise. I hope that the reporting of them, if they happen, will rise, and that unfortunately, no matter what you have on paper and what people are saying, the actions of the police department or the sheriff's department, any of the law enforcement agencies in Missoula County and the prosecutor's office are going to have to show that their actions are going to have to show that they are supporting the victim, that they are investigating these and taking them all seriously.
Oh, absolutely. And
once they do that, yes, I do believe that there will be more reports. Now, nobody knows how many are going on and how many aren't going on, but the reporting statistics, especially with sexual assaults, it's very low nationally, or they feel it's very low nationally for a number of reasons, but I think in Missoula's, the reason was the publicity we were getting with our law enforcement.
Sure. Now, any prosecutor, any attorney will tell you that perhaps the most difficult case of any to prove is that of rape or sexual assault, because there are always two sides to the story, unless it's a horrible, aggravated, type situation.
Absolutely.
And so and what I hear from people who constantly tell me that Missoula, is so deficient in its investigations into sexual assault is the ratio between the numbers of rapes that are reported and those that actually are prosecuted and eventually, sentenced to prison. And as attorneys tell me, give us a case we can prosecute. Give us proof that we can use in court before a jury that will say, yes, this person is guilty beyond the shadow of a doubt.
It would be nice. I had 24 years of law enforcement in Montana, so I'm talking with some experience. And it would be nice to give them a absolute positive case.
And thank you for calling, by the way.
No problem. But the thing of it is prosecutors also have to understand that they've got to earn their money. Yeah. They will not always be getting DNA. They will not always be getting, all the physical evidence that they want. And a lot of times, circumstantial evidence is what they're going to get. But if they put that case together properly, if the law enforcement people understand that you're investigating it for two reasons. One, did this really happen? And if it didn't, somebody, the accuser, is obviously having some problems, going through something. So they can use it as a two-pronged situation to help both the victim and, if it's unfounded, and find out exactly what's going on, or to prove the rape. So they should take them extremely serious. They should go by the guidelines, even if they figure, wait a minute, this isn't matching the story. The evidence doesn't match the story, but they need to take it the full way and investigate it seriously, because sometimes all they'll have is a circumstantial evidence for a real rape.
Now, Mike, may I ask you a quick question? Have you been following all the reports that have come back from Mr. Tremblay regarding the progress that the police and the county attorneys and the university police system have been making in their work to try to adjust the way or revise the way they deal with sexual assaults? And do you see that as a positive? And do you believe they're actually following those dictums?
I don't know if they're actually following them or not. I do believe that it is a very positive thing. This has been brought to light, and it needs to be addressed. But I started law enforcement in '79, retired in 2003, and rapes were rapes. They should have been. This shouldn't have happened in 2013, 14, or 15,
right,
where the feds have to come in and tell us how to do our job, because it should have been done anyway. These crimes have been around forever. They've been prosecuted prior to this. They are harder. There are more false reports. That's true. But even if it's a false report, it needs to be addressed, because obviously somebody has a problem, and that they can address that at that time.
Sure.
So there's reason to take these seriously. I hope that what they're saying is true. And yes, it's nice to have all these programs in place, but if they're not going to follow through with it, people aren't dumb. They're going to want to see actions, not words. And if they continue to get reports that the victim felt like they were being a victim for a second time through the prosecutor's office, or the cops weren't taking them serious, then they're not going to report it.
All right. Well,
no matter how many programs you have in place.
Go ahead, John.
Well, first of all, thanks for calling in. I wanted to make
really
a correction.
Appreciate it. You're welcome to call anytime, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I wanted to make a correction. I think I had mentioned Yellowstone County is having higher. They're actually one of the best counties with one of the lowest, actually even lower than Ravalli County if you look at the aggregate, like if you take for the past decade all in total. In 2013, only 0.25 reported rapes, but over that time, the average there was 0.28. Okay. Ravalli County's average was 0.35, so higher over the 10-year span there between 2003 and 2013.
Okay, so we're going to come right back. Mike, we're going to get your call on here in a moment. We have two lines open. This is a difficult topic. And, there's room on both sides to talk about this. 721-1290, and I'm glad we are. We'll be right back. Oh, so glad we don't have video in here. Plick, turn that off. Okay, 721.
Every day I come to work shirtless. I think the world's thankful for that.
721-1290 is our number. All right, we continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out. I mentioned Yellowstone County, and I was clarifying some statistical information at the last break. But it's really important that everyone realizes Yellowstone County is where Billings is. Right. Major city, closest big city to the Bakken, and has a much lower crime rate than most of the other cities in Montana. And aggregate, right, over the last 10 years, lower than even Ravalli County and a bevy of others, actually maybe even of all Montana.
But according to what the gentleman just said, you have to ask, is the caveat, do the people in that area trust their law enforcement enough to report a sexual assault? Because if they don't trust them, they won't report. And thereby keeping the numbers of reported rapes low.
Right. I guess that's true. I mean, there's lots of reasons why one might not report to the police, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I just don't. I just don't see that giant murkiness as being that big of a swing vote.
Okay, all right. Well, I got to throw it in there. So, Mike, thank you for holding. Go ahead.
Have you heard any stories of dogs being horrible?
It's kind of funny you're talking about rape this morning, especially the sexual assault on the dog. Oh, the guy faces 10 years in jail, and he's out on a $50,000 bail, and this is a law that is absolutely ridiculous, but, hey, we're going to prosecute this guy for prostituting his German Shepherd. And I want somebody to tell me where this hurts you, me, or anybody else, and the dog probably doesn't need to go to a psychiatrist to get de-traumatized.
Is the dog going to
This is a stupid law that should be peeled off the books immediately.
Okay, Mike, thanks.
Now, wait a minute. One more thing here, just a minute. You're talking to this guy you was just talking to. He said, yeah, we got to investigate a rape to see if it actually happened. I agree with him. However, when the woman can point the finger and put somebody in jail for life, or at the very minimum 5 to 10 years, and it's proven beyond a doubt that it's a false deal, and what's she going to get slapped with? A misdemeanor of filing a false police report. So if you're going to go on one side, you got to go on both sides, because this is ridiculous. When a woman can put you in jail, because look at the lacrosse players, look at everywhere you've seen this happen. These people weren't even in town, and yet they had to spend all kinds of money to prove they weren't in town. So there's got to be more to it than not. If you're filing a false police report on this rape issue, you'd better dang well be able to prove that this guy was even in town.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. All right. 721-1290. I don't know what to say. Some of the news stories that we cover, you just shake your head. You go,
Mike, I mean, how is the German Shepherd going to give consent? And I got to ask, is he right? Is the dog getting psychological counseling? Is that part of the story?
John. Let's put it this way. When the gentleman came into town for the alleged meeting, the dog was in the car.
Wait. So some police officer had to pretend he was going.
Yes. It was. It's like any situation. I'm sorry. It's like any situation where.
That one.
Hold on. It's like any situation, an online sexual situation where there's a detective. His specialty is pretending to be a female victim or a victim of some sort, and draws the person in, and they're arrested. And in this particular deviant sexual conduct, that's what it was all about. And if you want to know the whole story, the whole horrible, icky story, the affidavit with all the charges and the details is on the story that we filed on Friday.
Oh, the world is so much more disturbing than
Okay. So I just want you to know, if you want to know for yourself, I am not going to repeat it on the air, but if you want to read it for yourself, it is not something that I would recommend for your kids. Okay? So, okay. Well, that was good. We're going to take
cleansing breath.
I'm going to take a cleansing shower.
You know what cleans you out, though, is some free coffee.
Hey, let's do that. All right, now, Shelley, if you don't mind holding on just a second, we got to take a quick break. Well, I'm going to give you plenty of time to make your comments.
I'm going to give free coffee and toast away from the Rocket Coffee Coffee Shop in the little Garden City Garden Supply over there in the Eastgate Shopping Center or across the street from it. Give us a call at 721-1290 to win your free coffee and toast. And, of course, your choice of spread, 721-1290. All you got to do is call and you win.
I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for joining us on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. We had a winner just a minute ago, John, right?
That's right. Mary, sorry, actually, it wasn't Mary. It was Glenn today that won free coffee.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Congratulations to Glenn. All right, so let's get to the phones and say good morning to Shelley. First of all, Shelley, thank you for holding.
You bet.
What's on your mind, ma'am?
Well, I'm curious about statistics, since you're talking about statistics. Like, I'm driving, so unfortunately I can't look anything up. But I know the statistic of how many women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime is very high.
That's what they say, yes.
Yes, it's incredibly high. Also, are your statistics talking about women who are 18 and younger, so it's not, or 16 and younger, so it's not considered molestation or child abuse?
It's all forcible rape.
It's all forcible rape.
In Montana.
It's people over probably 16 13 or something like that with forcible rape.
No, I believe. I mean, even if it's a child, it would still be considered forcible rape. There would be other charges along with it. I mean, someone who's an expert in the law can.
To me, those numbers are really low when you look at all of the sexual aggression against women.
Well, I think
and
you also.
I would love to know. It's pretty difficult to figure out what because these are reported cases. You know how many women do not report cases, and the perfect example of that right now is this thing in the media with the Duggar family. Here's a young man who molested 5 young girls, who never had to face prosecution. What message do we send to those 5 young females? What message do we send to those 5 young females? And so that's part of why women don't say anything. That's why I bet if we actually knew the real statistics of sexual aggression against women, it would be much higher. And when I hear old white men like that caller before me talk about how these poor men get accused of things, and it makes me want to scream. So I have no sympathy for poor white men that want to talk about
Shelley,
how unjust things are for them.
Can I ask you a quick question? Do you, and this is the serious question I'm directing to you as a woman. Do you believe that it would be easier if there was a an agency that was staffed specifically by women to receive reports of sexual assaults or rapes, that it would be easier for a woman to come into that situation where they knew they would be in territory where they would be received and at least listened to?
Here's what I believe about gender, is that you don't have to be a man or a woman, female or male, to have compassion and empathy and understanding.
I agree. Yeah. But there is there's a perception against men, though, that somehow we don't have that facility.
But it's systemic and it's societal. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
When you get men like the last caller who call in and say the things that he did, that has no place in this discussion, other than maybe at the tail end of something. Women don't talk about this, and they don't come forward because of comments like that man made. And so, women are afraid to, who wants to face that? This is a societal and systemic problem.
Sorry, which comment did you think that was...
Not only in the United States, but across the world.
Which comment did...
We send messages. That's what I'm saying is this Duggar situation. What message do those 5 young girls hear from that? That he's above the law? That he doesn't have to face prosecution for what he did for them? What message do those girls get out of that? And that's one example. I bet you could find thousands and millions of the kind of things that, like we tell young girls, you can be anything you want to be. Well, we don't tell boys that, because it's expected.
I don't know. I tell my kids similar things. Actually, I don't. Maybe I'm a little more grounded. You're going to have aptitudes and some things are not.
There are things that we say societally and systemically that happen to young girls that's put in their heads, and it's just a perfect example of that. I just.
You mean what Mike said earlier, or the Duggar situation? And by the way, I don't know if everyone knows. So you're referring to a situation from a TV show, 19 Kids and Counting. The Duggar family is a prominent member. Now, the head of that family, John, I think is John Duggar, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the oldest son.
Oh, it's the oldest son got in trouble
the oldest son as a teenager molested 5 young girls.
Right, his sisters.
And now the statute of limitations is gone. I'll tell you what, if I was one of the mothers of one of those girls, I wouldn't have sat quiet. But I'll tell you what, women are, especially in those kind of households, you're put in your place, right? They're not going to speak out. And so I just think that it's a message that we send to young girls, and the things that we allow happen, it's appalling.
Well, Shelley, tell you what, we're up against a break, but real quickly, in 30 seconds or so, and I know it's a terrible thing to ask you, what do you think can be done specifically here in our hometown of Missoula to help ameliorate the problem that you're discussing?
Well, I think empowering young girls is the biggest thing. Empowering, young girls to speak out and to say something. And, and I don't know what a safe environment is for them, but, or how that would happen in the system. I don't know that much about the system and how it works, but I think just societally as a community, we need to encourage women to, and also my 15-year-old said to me when this was going on with the U and stuff, she said, Mom, we live in a society that teaches girls don't get raped, but we don't teach boys don't rape. So it isn't even about empowering women. It's about teaching men how to be men and how to be compassionate, empathetic, so that if they are in law enforcement and they have a young girl approach them about a sexual assault, they don't attack her too.
Well, they obviously didn't have my mother. Well, Shelley, listen, we're way past a break. Thank you so much for your time and your comments. We really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
You have a good day. We're going to come right back. Eric and Marilyn, we have one line open for you. It's there it goes, 721-1290. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we live in a culture where it's borderline now.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest fantasy novel for women in the last 2 years was what? That
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey, which is borderline, it's S&M, but consensual apparently. But how many people cross that line?
We're going to come right back. Stay with us. This is Talkback, and it's Tuesday. We're enmeshed in a very, very serious conversation about sexual assaults and reporting. Started off with some statistics about reports from Missoula County versus some of the other metropolitan areas in Montana.
Yeah, and, I think a lot of people are calling out the culture here. I mean, we heard it from multiple points of view. I don't care if you're left or right. There's accusations about the culture not raising kids properly, and I think a lot of it has to do with the culture shouldn't be raising anybody's kids.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Parents should be teaching kids these things.
Thinking mom and dad, hello?
But parents now shunt their kids off to public or maybe even private school and hope that all these moral lessons will be dictated to them by the teachers who are told to try not to give moral lessons.
Somehow, by osmosis, they'll learn the right things to do.
So when you go to college and you have all your hormones raging, what are you going to do?
Exactly. For people, I remember I spent one of my big failures in my life was my 1 year of college, was when I went to the University of Montana. I lived in Helena. I was 17 and a half years old, I came over to Missoula because I was supposed to go to school. I had no idea what I wanted to do, not a clue.
All these kids in college now are looking at you like, I'm getting my communications degree. He has the job I want, and he only paid for 1 year of college.
That's right.
That's a win-win there.
All right. But you got to remember, this is 1970, and there weren't the support systems that are available now on campus. They were just non-existent then. So I failed miserably my 1 year of school. However, one thing I do remember is the culture that existed on campus at the time, the male-female culture. And I'm telling you what, it was pretty freewheeling. And you got to remember it's the early 70s, so maybe it was the whole picture was different. But there was a lot of going on, if you know what I mean. And usually it was right under the nose of administrators, and people thought, they're kids, let kids be kids, and all that stuff.
Well, one thing we do know, at least from national self-reporting, the incidence of these kind of engagements, these male-female
hookups,
or other engagements, I guess, whatever your choice might be, the incidents are much lower. People are having a lot less sexual activity in my generation than they were in your generation, Peter.
Okay, well, let's...
That's, I believe...
it's another thing I missed out on. But anyway, maybe that's a good thing. Eric, you're on Talkback. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, your last caller never did say what Mike said that made her angry.
I was trying to get her to answer that, but I couldn't get words out.
I think what she was referring to is the fact that when men are falsely accused, they have to go through the process of trying to defend themselves, and they could end up with big legal bills, even if it's a false report.
Yeah, and I agree with Mike on that if somebody slanders you, and then that there should be punishment for that slander, not just a misdemeanor. And that's just. And it looks like that woman doesn't know what justice is, or not completely. My comment. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for the call. Marilyn, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi. I also agree with Mike. There's lots of men out there that false accusations are made against, and if I am correct, I think Shelley was the Hillary Clinton supporter, and I'd like to ask Shelley, does the standard hold true for people like Hillary's husband, Bill? I mean, there was many allegations about Bill, the perpetrator, sexual assaults, and the Democrat defended him. Hillary destroyed those women, and does the same standard hold true? And I would also like John to talk about the redefinitions of rape. And about Ravalli County, I think people know that there's a slight deterrent down there. More guns.
All right. Thanks, Marilyn. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that.
That might be true about Ravalli.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, we have a 1-minute break, so Harry and Kathy, if you don't mind waiting 60 seconds, we will get your comments on, get as many comments as we can. We're going to do our best not to comment on your comments. I want to give you time to make your comments. Does that make sense? Anyway, we're going to come right back with more of Talkback right after this. 721-1290 is the number, 1-800-568-5309. Let's get back to the phones. Harry, first of all, thank you for holding, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. I find myself, probably the first time I can remember, agreeing with both Mike and Marilyn, at least on their comments about Mike. I mean Eric and Marilyn with their comments on Mike. But I always wonder about this idea that there's so many unreported rapes, or how do they know if it's unreported? Obviously, it's just a guesstimation, at best. Just because somebody says, well, they thought they were raped, or I'd understand where that comes from.
Well, there's quite a few studies that have been done where people are able to give their responses without revealing who they are or even where they are.
But it's still just an accusation. I mean, to find
exactly,
out whether
there's no
rape or not. I mean, it's just like if the Jordan Johnson thing hadn't gone through trial, that would have been considered rape, unreported rape, if she hadn't, came forward because she said she was raped, and they came to court and said no, it wasn't. So I mean, you
make an excellent point. I mean, I think you make an excellent point. It's really hard to know for sure what you don't know.
Yeah,
and the other thing,
they use that statistic as a fact. I mean, that this is really out there. That it's just one of those things that bothers me. There was like a letter to the Independent. I don't know if you read this last week about a girl who was going through the same thing, talking about the Krakauer book. But her whole story is she was with this guy, then they broke up, and then they were at a drinking party, drinking games. And then she woke up next morning in bed with him, and she don't remember what happened, but she slowly would come back that she was kissing him and crying on his shoulder, and then they eventually had sex. Well, then she's almost inferring that was rape because she didn't really remember most of it because she was drunk. Well, right there, that would be in her mind it was rape, but was it really? I mean, they were drunk. He was drunk. They were and she wasn't passed out. Obviously, she was kissing on him and saying she loved him.
Oh yeah. Okay, Harry. Thanks. We got to move on.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Go ahead.
It's notoriously difficult. I did want to read something real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So one of the things that was referenced by, I think her name was Shelley earlier, was the high number of people that have been raped. And this actually gets bandied about a lot. It's a statistic that the president himself used not too long ago, President Obama. And it's that 1 in 5 women have been raped.
Or will be.
In their lifetime. They phrase it differently. But I wanted to read something. This is from the Washington Examiner. By Aish Sho is the writer of it. No, 1 in 5 women have not been raped on college campuses. And I'm going to quote here. The statistic comes from a 2007 campus sexual assault study conducted by the National Institute of Justice, a division of the Justice Department. The researchers made clear that the study consisted of students from just 2 universities. But some politicians ignore that for their political talking point, choosing instead to apply that small sample to all U.S. colleges across the board. The CSA study was actually an online survey that took 15 minutes to complete, and the 5,446 undergraduate women who participated were provided a $10 Amazon gift card. Men were able to participate too, but their answers were not included in the 1 in 5 statistic.
Wow.
If 5,446 sounds like a high number, it's actually not. The researchers acknowledged that it was a very low response rate, even with the $10 gift card. Another limitation of the CSA study, inherent with web-based surveys, is that the response rates are relatively low. The researchers said, although the response rates were not lower than most web-based surveys, they are lower than what you typically achieve using a different mode of data collection. 19% of women who responded to the survey said that they had experienced some kind of sexual assault, either attempted or completed. 12.6% reported attempted sexual assaults, 13.7% reported completed sexual assaults, and some women reporting both. But a lot of those responses have to do with how the questions were worded. For example, the CSA study asked women whether they had had sexual contact with someone while they were, quote, unable to provide consent or stop what was happening because you were passed out, drugged, or drunk, incapacitated, or asleep. The survey also asked the same question about the events that you think, but are not certain, may have happened. So anyway, a lot of political talking points. I remember the president had this 1 in 5 comment really quickly after Missoula got in trouble with NCAA, actually way back in the original scandal there.
Right.
And I thought, wow, that's a lot of women. I know in my life, in my personal locus, one woman who has been raped. Out of 14, 15 close people in my network, and when I say close, I'm talking
dear friends,
family, friends, and not even going to the friends level. Okay,
right. Okay.
Distant family included. But I mean, that's not even close to the 1 in 5.
Yeah.
So.
Can you grab line 1? Let's get Kathy on the line. Kathy, thank you for holding. We got about 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Well, I'll talk fast. First, I do not by any means want to minimize rape by any means. However, I do find what Shelley said extremely insulting. I am the proud mother of an outstanding young man, as well as I have many friends who are raising sons also. And for her to say, more than once about, white men and their comments, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that I can't see straight because of the color of their skin, therefore, rape isn't important to them. But the second thing is she said about her 15-year-old daughter, we're taught not to get raped. Well, but they're not teaching men. That's so unfair and very insulting. We are all doing an outstanding job, doing the best, raising our sons to be fine, upstanding men in this community, and for her to imply that is very insulting.
All right.
That's all I wanted to say, and have an outstanding day.
Thanks for the call. And I wonder, and again, mitigating factors. How many of these incidents have to do with alcohol consumption?
Well, in the Krakauer book, all of them did, but he didn't talk about that, which is an interesting feature of the book.
To me, I'm sorry, that is a mitigating factor. It clouds.
Well, what do you mean mitigating?
It clouds the judgment. It keeps you from.
That's not a. Well, yeah, okay, you're right.
If you're going to be going out with somebody, don't drink. Now, yes, there are roofies, and that's I understand. That's terrible.
That's different, right?
But when you voluntarily go to a place where there's going to be alcohol, and be careful. Be careful. Anyway.
Well, I think it's important to say though, just because you are a woman drinking and you get raped doesn't mean you weren't raped.
I know that.
So it's not a mitigating factor when it comes to the.
I understand that,
rape.
But you need to be responsible with your own actions. Okay? I mean, how controversial is that? Dara, you're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Hi, me.
Hi. Yes, go ahead,
okay.
please.
I agree with what you just said, is that the women have to be responsible, right? It's a fact of nature that men are stronger, and there's nothing that society is ever going to be able to do about that.
This is true.
So if you do not want the risk of this happening to you, don't invite them to your dorm. Don't be alone. Don't, I mean, would it be great if everybody was moral and,
Yeah.
But they're not.
Dara,
and so,
I am so sorry to do this. We are almost completely out of time. We're going to continue this discussion at a different time.
One more second. I think that something needs to be taught to women, like stop, drop, and roll, so that right after they're raped, instead of being befuddled and confused and going through the emotional trauma, they can think in their brain, do this, right?
Perfect.
So tell them, don't take a shower, don't go to your friends, go to the police, go to the emergency room.
And we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry.